Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel, kaviwebdesigns. Today we're going to continue with our JavaScript e-course. Previously we have learned about JavaScript random. Today we're going to learn about JavaScript Booleans. A JavaScript Boolean represents one of two values, true or false. Boolean values. Very often in programming, you will need a data type that can only have one of two values, like yes/no, on or off, true or false. For this, JavaScript has a Boolean data type. It can only take values true or false. The Boolean function. You can use the Boolean function to find out if an expression or a variable is true. So as you can see over here, we have 10 over here. 10 is greater than 9. So obviously 10 is greater than 9. So it will give it as true. So now let's look at this example using Visual Studio Code to see what will happen. So as you can see over here, in this HTML code, in the body tag, we have a paragraph which has the ID of demo, and it also happens to be empty. And in the script tags, we are using the document.getElementById method. We're getting the ID of demo, and updating the HTML content using inner HTML to 10 greater than 9. So now when we run this using Chrome, you'll see that it will give it as true. But if we flip the sign and write 9 is greater than 10 is lesser than 9, and now when we run this using Chrome, it will give it as false. So this will just give it as true or false. And if you do 10 equals to 9, and when we run this using Chrome, it will not display it as, because you have to write double equals to. So it will give it as an error, uncaught syntax error, invalid left hand sign is an assignment. So blah 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 blah. So, and now if you write the double equal to sign, it will actually start comparing and it will give it as false. So as you can see, Booleans are basically just comparing and all. So now let's go back to the PPT to learn more. Comparison and conditions. The JavaScript comparisons will give a full overview of comparison operators. The chapter JavaScript if-else gives a full overview of conditional statements. Here are some examples. So as you can see, I just explained the equal to operator, the double equal to sign operator. Its description, and the description for this is equal to. So over here, as you can see in the example, if day is equal to Monday. So as you can see, you're using an if statement here. This chapter will not teach you about the if statements. This chapter will teach you about the booleans. So I'm not going to explain this in detail. What we're basically doing is, if today's date equals Monday, and then we'll write a code block. So greater than, I just show you if so as you can see in this example, if salary is greater than 9,000, and then less than if age is less than 18. So this can be used for many things. Like suppose if you want a word, you have to be older than 18 or equal to 18, right? So as you can see, this can be useful for some time. The Boolean value of expression is the basis for all JavaScript comparison and conditions. Everything with the value is true. So as you can see in this example, 100 is true, 3.14 is true, minus 15 is true, the string hello is true, the string false is even true, and 7 plus 1 plus 3.14 is true. But over here, anything that if this adds up to 0, then it will be false, as because anything without a value is false. So now let's look at these examples using Visual Studio Code to see what will happen. So as you can see over here, in the body we have a header 1 and a paragraph which has the ID of demo. And in the script tags over here, we're using the document.getElementById method. We're getting the ID of demo and updating the HTML content inside using inner HTML to this over here. So as you can see, 100 is plus Boolean 100 plus the BR tag. So as you can see over here, we're adding a string plus a Boolean plus a BR tag. And over here, we're using plus to add this, and then so on and so forth. So let's look at the first example. So 100 is Boolean 100. So we're converting 100 into a Boolean, and over here we're using the BR tag, bring the next line for the next text to go on the next line. So now when we run this using Chrome, as you can see, they all neatly stack up because of the BR tag. So as you can see over here, 100 is our string over here. And then over here, it is saying true, as we have converted 100 to true. As you can see over here, as because we have converted 100 to a Boolean. So it will give it as true, as because 100 has a value. And then over here, it is not displaying BR tag, BR, as because we have written it in a string, and over here And over here, the BR tag is a HTML element. So the BR tag basically means a line break. So then you'll bring the next text on the next line. So as you can see over here, there is 3.14 is, and then plus Boolean, plus we're converting a 3.14 into a Boolean plus another BR tag. So that will give it as 3.14 is true. So as you can see over here, we are converting 15 minus 15, which is also true. And then over here, any not empty string is plus Boolean hello. So as you can see, any string except an empty one is true. So even if I write the longest word, which is pure ultramicroscopic silico-volcanic canayosis, it will give it as true. Even if I write like a huge number of strings, it will give it as true. And if I write an empty string over here, and then I save it over here, and then I refresh it over here, it will give it as false, as because an empty string is basically empty, so it doesn't contain a value. So now any empty string, so as you can see, any not empty string is true, and even the string false is also true, and any expression except 0 is true. So as you can see over here, let's look at the last one. Any expression except 0 is true, as because 0 is basically nothing. So as you can see over here, we have a Boolean. We are converting 1 plus 7 plus 3.14 into a Boolean. So it will give it as true, as because this holds a value of 10.14. So now let's go back to the PPT to learn more. Everything without a value is false. The Boolean value of 0 is false. So let x equals 0 and then Boolean x. So that will give it as false. So let's look at all the examples of when we convert numbers and etc. to Boolean. That will give it as false. So let's close this tab and go to Visual Studio Code, and then let's go to the third example. So as you can see over here in the script tag, we're using the document.getElement by ID method. We're getting the ID of demo, which is in this paragraph, and it also happens to be empty. I'm using inner HTML to update the HTML content inside to this over here. So as you can see, we have a string plus a Boolean. We are converting a 0 into a Boolean plus 2 BR tags. So it will give an extra line break over here. So now when you run this using Chrome, we will see that it will give it like this. So as you can see, there's a small line break over here. So as you can see, 0 is false, minus 0 is also false, and then as you can see, an empty string is false, undefined is false. So as you can see, let's look at the undefined example. So undefined is plus Boolean undefined. So we converting undefined, the type undefined, to a Boolean. That will give it as false. And then null is false. So let's look at null over here. So null is plus, we're converting the null type into a Boolean. So as you can see, it will give it as false. Even false is false. And then NaN, not a number, is also false, as because NaN is basically like not a number, so it will is basically a 0. Let's go back to our PPT to learn more. JavaScript Booleans as objects. Normally JavaScript are primitive values created from literals. So let x equals false, but Boolean can be also defined as objects with the keyword new. So like integer and string, you can also create it with Boolean. So as you can see, the Boolean function we use to convert 0 and all into Booleans. So as you can see over here, we declare a variable called y and give it the value of new Boolean and then false. So as you can see, here's an example of them. So let x equals false, and then let y equals new Boolean false. So type of x returns Boolean and type of y returns object. So let's look at these using Visual Studio Code to see what will happen. So as you can see over here, x is a Boolean over here, and then the y variable is containing an object Boolean. So as you can see over here, we're using the document.getElement by ID method. We're getting the ID of demo, which is in this paragraph over here, and updating the HTML content inside to type of x plus a BR tag plus type of y. So now when you run this using Chrome, you'll see that we'll get it as a Boolean and then objects, as because type of x is a Boolean and type of y is an object, as because we have used a new keyword over here. So now let's go back to the PPT to learn more. Do not create Boolean objects. The new keyword complicates the code and slows down the execution speed. Boolean objects can produce unexpected results. When using the equal to operator, x and y are equal. So as you can see in this example, we have declared a variable called x and given the value of false. And we have declared a variable called y and given the value of a Boolean object and also has the value of false. What the equal to operator does is just compares the value. It doesn't compare the type. So now let's look at that example using Visual Studio Code to see what will happen. So as you can see in this example over here, in the script tags we declare a variable called x and given the value of false, and we have declared a variable called y and given the value of a object construct, a Boolean constructor, as you can see over here. And over here, using the document.getElementById method, we're getting the ID of demo, which is in this paragraph over here and also happens to be empty. And using dot in HTML to update the HTML content inside to this value over here. So as you can see, we're using brackets and comparing x equals to y. So now when we run this using Chrome, we'll see that we'll get it as true, as because this only compares the value, not the type. But if we write true over here, true, sorry, and now when we run this using Chrome, we'll see that it will give it as false, as because this value true over here, as because there's true over here and false over here. So the value are different. So now let's revert that change. Let's go back to the PPT to learn more. When using the triple equal to operator, x and y are not equal. So as you can see over here, we have declared a variable called x and given the value of false, and we have declared a variable called y and given the value of new Boolean false. So now let's look at this using Visual Studio Code to see what will happen. So as you can see over here is kind of the same. We have our same variables, but over here in the document.getElementById method line over here, there's a small change. Instead of double equal to, we're using triple equal to. So this will actually care about the type, and now it will give it as false. So now let's run this to double check. So as you can see, I was correct. It will give it as false. So folks, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to support us, please like, share, subscribe to our channel kaviwebdesigns, and keep on watching our videos. Show some love and have a nice day.